Hi there and welcome to today's vlog. I've got a question for you today, and it's this. If you read through the Gospels, there are 3 times when Jesus gives an aspect of our life or character which is a sign that we are really his disciples. So what 3 things did Jesus say were clear indications that we are disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ? I wonder if you could think what they are. Well, I'm going to, in the next 3 days, deal in turn with the 3 elements that Jesus himself highlighted. And the first comes in the 8th chapter of the Gospel of St. John and verse 31. Let me read it to you. To the Jews who had believed in him, Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples." If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. In other words, you are truly my disciples. You are authentic disciples of mine if you hold to my teaching. In the previous verse, verse 30, we're told this. Even as he, that is Jesus, spoke, many put their faith in him. As Jesus spoke, many put their faith in him. Let me tell you a humorous little story. When I was at college in Bristol over 30 years ago, training for the Methodist ministry, we decided, Sue and I, that we would like to have a dog as part of our family. We had 3 children, but we thought a dog, especially a dog that fitted in really well to family life, would be a good addition to our family group. And so we prayed hard and we went along to a place in Bristol called the Home of Starving and Abandoned Dogs. Oh, poor things. And we came across this dog that we thought was ideal for our family. Well, she seemed to be. So we took her home, and she became, for the next quite a number of years, very much at the heart of our family life. She fitted in so well. But of course, when you get a dog, you think about what can we call this dog? And I thought, being at college, trying to learn New Testament Greek, it would be great to have a Greek name for our new dog. So I thought, what's a good name for a dog? Faithful. So I looked up the Greek for faithful and discovered actually that the Greek for faithful is pistos. And I couldn't quite see myself shouting that name out in the street when the dog was roaming about. So actually when she came to us, she already had a name, and that was Suki. And that was the name we stuck with in the end. But faith is very much a key element. If we are to be disciples of Jesus, then we are, says Jesus himself, to put our faith in him. And it's interesting that the way the Greek is worded, because the New Testament was written in Greek, in verse 30, where it says, even as he spoke, many put their faith in him, the construction is slightly different to what it appears in the following verse, to the Jews who had believed in him. So it suggests possibly that there were those who initially had suggested, had indicated their belief in him, but no longer did so. And indeed, in John chapter 6, it says, from this time, many of his disciples turned back and no longer followed him. I remember vividly a young couple who became part of our church in our early days in Stoke-on-Trent, and their faith seemed vibrant and exciting. They were really became at the heart of church life, and they were so keen to learn and grow and develop. But very sadly, before we left there, just after a few years, their faith just seemed to evaporate, and I think they actually parted. So that was really sad. So it's like that story, isn't it, of Jesus tells about the sower, and he sows his seed, and some fall on the stony ground, some fall in the weeds, and they're like those whose faith seems to be evident and growing, but for whatever reason they fall away. They don't keep going. That verse in the Amplified Bible says, if you abide in my word, hold fast to my teachings, and live in accordance with them, you are truly my disciples. In other words, our faith in Jesus is shown by the way that we live according to his words, his teaching. Remember the story of the wise and foolish builder, one built on the rock, one built on the sand. And Jesus says the wise builder was the one who built on the rock. He's the one who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice. So faith isn't just a mental thing. Faith shows itself in the way that we live. So the faith of a true disciple is practical. It molds and shapes who we are, how we live our lives. Another translation, the Message, says this: then Jesus turned to the Jews who had claimed to believe in him. If you stick with this, living out what I tell you, you are my disciples for sure. So, as it's often said, the Christian life is not a sprint, it's more like a marathon. So we keep going. We keep living out our faith in our daily lives. We keep putting our trust in Jesus moment by moment, even when the going is really hard. And there's that kind of image of stickability, of holding on, not letting go, of perseverance. Indeed, Jesus himself says in Matthew 24, the one who endures to the end will be saved. When trouble comes, will we endure? That's when our faith is revealed for what it truly is. So the first mark of a Christian disciple, according to Jesus, is the one who holds to his teaching, who keeps pressing on, believing in him, trusting in him, whatever the circumstances. Tomorrow I'll talk about the second mark of a disciple. Perhaps you can be thinking in the meantime what you think it might be. So there are 3 times in the Gospels where Jesus said, this is a sign that you are my disciples. I've told you about one, holding on to the teaching of Jesus, living it out. What do you think are the other 2? We'll go on to number 2 tomorrow. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening today.